Hello Sumate, welcome back to my channel. So in this video we'll be learning how to make an off-shoulder bustier. So we'll be learning how to cut, draft and sew, and I'm also going to be taking the necessary measurement for us in this video so we don't get confused. It's a very detailed video and this is actually a dress. If you want to know how I made the lower part, which is the skirt part of the dress, watch out for the next video. So without wasting time, let's get started. I'm going to show us the necessary measurements we need for this particular bustier, okay? It's an off-shoulder bustier, so we'll be needing the chest line measurement. I know it's very difficult to get the chest line measurements on the mannequin, so let's say the chest line measurement is something around this part. Okay, you see it, let's say it's here. There's the chest line measurement. Then you will need your apex, which is your bust point, your nipple point. It's called apex, bust point, nipple point. This is the nipple of the dummy, okay? So if I come down here, is about 10 inches for the nipple point, okay? Then you will be needing the underbust. The underbust of the dummy is 13, okay? Then the half length is 15 inches. So now it is a dress I'm going to make, okay? But I'm going to do the upper part, a bustier, an off-shoulder bustier, as requested by some of you, okay? So you need your bust, your chest line, you need your apex, which is your nipple point, you need your underbust, and you need your half length, which is your waist, your upper waistline, okay? Then after that, you need your shoulder measurement. You need your shoulder measurement. Just measure it from one shoulder bone to the other shoulder bone. That's how to get your shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 15 inches. Then after that, you need your waist measurement, okay? So here now, you'll be needing your waist measurement. This part where the half length is stopping, you have to measure the circumference, okay? So the waist measurement of the dome is 25.5. That's not my waist measurement. So the bust measurement also, you need the bust measurement, okay? You have to measure your bust round like so. So this dummy does not have hand. You'll be needing your sleeve measurement because it's going to carry a sleeve. So I'm thinking of doing a long sleeve as at the time I was making this video. I don't know if I'll change my mind. So the next thing you're going to do is to determine the full length of the dress. The full length of the dress I want to make is 38 inches because it's going to be a short dress. Okay, so the full length I want to make is 38 inches. And these are the necessary measurements needed for this particular video that I'm making. So right now we'll be going to the drafting table to draft. So we are here at the drafting table. In this particular video, I want to explain as I'm doing it so that you understand it better. So I have my measurements written out. I have the bust measurements, I have the waist, I have the shoulder, I have to nipple to nipple. I have the full length, which is 38, like I said in the measurement. Then I have the long sleeve length. So as at the time I was writing this measurement, I was thinking of doing a long sleeve, but it's like I'm changing my mind, okay? So we are going to be working with the bustier pattern first. So the first thing I will do now is I'll take my shoulder measurements. My shoulder measurement is 7.5. Then I'll come down to do for my shoulder slope. So the shoulder slope for the front is 1.5. So from that 1.5, I will mark my chest line. My chest line is 8 inches, okay? So I'll mark 8 inches like this, okay? So now, what I will do now, I need to extend the line to this side. So I'm just going to measure it straight from the up to this part. 8 inches plus 1.5 will give you 9.5. I'll come to this point and I'll mark 9.5. I'm going to cross-check my measurements again and mark 9.5. From there, I will do my nipple measurement, which is my bust point measurement. It is 11 inches. Then my underbust measurement is 13.5, okay? So I will go to this side, I will repeat the same thing. Then I will also just mark my half length, 15.5 for my half length, so which is the waist. Then I will come over to this place, I will mark the 11 inches, 13.5 for the underbust. Then I will mark the 15.5 for half length. So what I will do now, I will just connect the lines. So here is the chest line, here is the bust point, here is the under bust, and here is the waistline. So the next thing we'll be doing now is to mark the 7.5 we have here for the shoulder measurement. So we'll mark it on the chest line, okay? So I'll go ahead and mark it here. And after marking it like so, I'll connect a straight line. So I have to cross check my measurements again. So I'm connecting to this 1.5 for shoulder slope, okay? So after doing that, the next thing I will do now is to go ahead, divide this part into two. So when I divide it, whatever it gives me, the midpoint, I'll mark it and I'll go in by half an inch. So I'm going to impute my bust measurement, which is 10 inches. Yeah, then I'll connect. Can you see? And after doing that, the next thing I will do now is to take my nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches. Divide by 2 will give me 4. So I will mark 4 from the chest line to the waistline. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to add extra 2 inches to this part for the side dart, because we'll be creasing the side dart away. And when you crease it away, you did not replace it, your measurement is going to be short, okay? So if your waist measurement is 15 now, you should know that you are extending it, you're making it 17 inches. Like mine now is 15.5. So if you check it now, it will now be measuring 17.5. Can you see? So let's say this is our new waist, okay? So I'll put NW, our new waistline. Then after that, my dart intake is usually 2.5. That's my dart intake, okay? So here now, what I will do, this 2.5, I'm going to divide it into 2, okay? But I'm doing unequal dart. So this part is going to carry 1 inch. Then this part will carry 1.5, okay? So I'll measure it from the new waistline to the under bust. So, like so. So we're doing unequal dart. If you are doing equal dart, you will divide it into 2 equal halves, okay? Into 2 equal halves. That's how you will divide it. Then from this bust point area now, come down by half an inch and mark. Go up by half an inch and mark. So after that, we're going to connect. You can see how I'm placing my ruler. So that's how you place your ruler and connect it. So this part you mark half an inch on, you connect it to this dart leg. So we'll do the same thing for this side, okay? So after doing that, the next thing we are going to do now is to determine how high we want the off shoulder to be, okay? So this line now, I'm just going to extend it straight up. Or let me just do my normal shoulder measurements so that we are not confused. For those of us that are really not familiar with it, I will do the 3 by 3. This the shoulder depth is 3, the shoulder width is 3 inches. So I'm just going to connect it and do the shoulder slope so that we don't get confused, okay? So what you have to do now, you know the nipple to nipple measurement, which is the dart line, is 4 inches. So I'm going to extend it straight up to the shoulder like so, and I'll connect. Okay, so on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark 1 inch away to connect the shoulder dart. So it is an off shoulder, and this shoulder that we are creating will give us a tightening. It will create a tightening for the upper part so that it doesn't expose our boobs. So now that we've connected it like this, I'm going through all this process so that we understand very well. You can actually do it without all of this, okay? So from this point, determine how high you want it to be. How high do you want it to be? How fully covered do you want it to be? So I think I'll come up by 3 inches for my own. So let's say it is now 6.5 here. So from the chest line, I came up by 3 inches. If you want it to cover you more than that, go up. If you don't want it that high, come down, okay? Because the more you go up, the more fully covered the chest line is, okay? The chest line will become. So now that I've gone up with 3 inches, what we'll have to do now is to connect. Okay, so it is an off shoulder and it's going to be carrying a sleeve. So whatsoever you're connecting, it should either be at the midpoint of the armhole line. Okay, so let it be at the midpoint of the armhole line. You know, some people, they will just connect it straight. So you can just decide to say, oh, you're making it 4, you know, it's 4 inches from here, from the midpoint of the armhole. It is 4 inches. So from here you can just measure 4 inches like so and connect a straight line. Then you do your tightening. Do you understand? But I don't want to do that, so I think I should extend mine upwards by or let's leave it like so, 3 inches. So what I will do now, I'm going to connect from this point to this marking point, then to how I want it. So on this edge I want to have a little sweetheart neckline. You know, this part is 3 inches from the chest line, right? So let's say on this part I'm going to do 2.5, so that it will give me a little curve. Or I will do 2 inches. If I do 2 inches, it's going to expose too much, so I'll do 2.5 on this part. So I'm going to connect it with the pattern master ruler like so. So you can see that we're already exceeding this line now. So if you don't want to exceed the line, you can connect it from this point to this point, right? Then you cannot connect it from this point to this point. It depends on how you want it. Okay, so now let's connect it. Or if I want to make it straight, I can just connect it straight from this point to this point. So let's just do it like this. So it means that I came up from the chest line with about 4 inches. Okay, so by the time we're done sewing it, we will see how fully covered it's going to be on my body. So 3.5, not 4. So here 3.5 from the chest line. Now you'll be asking why I went up like this. It's an off shoulder. Okay, it's an off shoulder bustier. It's not a tube bustier. If it was a tube bustier, from this marking we did now, or wherever you want it, you can place your ruler like this, connect it straight to the armhole line. Okay, but this one is carrying a sleeve and you need this curve for the sleeve. Okay, so that's why it is off shoulder. It is not a tube. The next video I will be doing now, I will be explaining how to make a tube bustier perfectly, and the next video I will be uploading. So after connecting it like this tightening we have here is not enough. If you just connect it like this and cut, it's not going to hold you at all. So what will you do? On this point, come in by extra ½ inch, then here come in by another ½ inch, then connect like so. So after connecting it this way, the next thing you will be doing now is to, whatsoever you have here like this, extend it on this other side, then reconnect your armhole line. So after that now, I'm going to take my waist measurement. Okay, so my waist measurement is 8.5 plus this 2.5 that I've taken for that. We have to return the 2.5 because we'll be cutting it away. Okay, so I'm going to connect a straight line like so. Then from the bust point, which is the nipple point, I'll come down by 2 inches on the side. Then I'm going to connect from the 2 inches to the bust point area. Can you see? So after doing it like this now, I'm going to slit this part and this part open so I can close this part. So let me just cut the midpoint because I'm still going to cut this part away. So let me cut the midpoint so I'll be able to crease. Okay. So I'm going to crease this part. I'll pick this line. I'll rest it on this line. can see that this line is no longer equal, so I'm going to reconnect. I'm going to reconnect it to the waistline from the chest line. I'm going to crease this part. So I'm going to make sure that this line is resting on this line, okay? So can you see why we crease? You can see that it's not equal. So I'm going to reconnect on this part. So we're going to draft the back pattern. So for the back pattern, I've gone ahead to roll the chest line and I've gone ahead to roll the waistline. Now, you should take note that the waistline measurement for the back is 15.5. We added extra 2 inches to the front because we're doing side darts like I explained earlier. The shoulder slope is 1 inch for the back. Then what's left, I'll divide it into 2. But what you do, from here I'll come up by 4 inches, for the front it is 8 inches in total. So when I divided it by 2, it gave me 4. So you have to make sure that from the chest line to this point it is equal. Okay, so I'll mark 4 inches, and after that I'll take my chest line measurement, which is 10 inches. Then I'll connect it to my curve and connect it straight to this point. So after that, I'll go ahead and impute my waistline measurement, which is 8.5 plus 1 inch dart intake will give me 9.5. So I'm going to mark my dart height. This is 4 inches for my dart, half inch to the left, half inch to the right. I'll come over here and I'll mark 4 inches. Then I'm going to extend the 4 inches upwards also. So after doing that, I'm going to connect the shoulder. It was from this part we connected the neckline for the front, right? So it is still going to be from this part we'll be connecting for the back. I don't want the back neckline too low, because if you are making an off shoulder and you make the back neckline too low, it doesn't really hold. Somehow it doesn't hold so well. Okay, so I'll come up from the chest line by 2 inches and I'll connect. So it depends on the style you want to create for your back neckline. It depends on how you want it. So another thing I've realized is that whenever I make an off shoulder and I just connect like this part is always having an excess by the time I finish sewing it. So I have to readjust. So what I will do now, from this point now, I will come in by let's say 3/4 of an inch, okay? So that, okay, that point is okay. I will reconnect it because so that I will not have to do any adjustments at the end of the day. So from this point I will connect it to this part like so. So I'm going to connect the dart legs. Now the dart legs, now I'm connecting it straight to this point on the upper part, so that I'm going to have a little tightening on this part also. So after that I'm going to connect the sides. So we're going to be adding zipper allowance to this part, but I'll be doing that on the fabric, so I'll write it so that I don't forget. So now you should know that we've not added seam allowance to both the front and back. So like this, now the back pattern is done. I'll go ahead and cut. So at this point I've gone ahead to cut on the fabric. So I added half an inch on the center that I will use to join them together. You can see the half an inch. On the upper part I added half an inch. On the armhole area I added half an inch. Then the side, that's the 1.5 of an inch for seam allowance. Then for the back pattern I added half an inch round it, same way we added to the front. Then that's the zipper allowance, okay? And I did my half-inch zipper tightening, reconnected it. So the half-inch I removed from the center back, I returned it to the side. That's why you can see extra slant at the side of the back. So this is what we have. I'm going to remove the pin so that we can go to the sewing machine and put it all together. Don't forget that I also went ahead to cut hairstay also. So I'll be going to the ironing table to iron hairstay on the main fabric. So now we're going to be cutting the wording. So I'll fold it this way. You can see how I'm placing it. So this part that is folded, we have to be on this part that is folded. So I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to use this part too. So now that we're done cutting the wording, I'm going to iron the hairstay first, then I will iron the wording. This is how I will place the wording on it, okay? I'll make sure the curved part of the wording is meeting with the curved part of the fabric, and I'll place it this way and iron it. I'll do the same thing to this one, so I'll be doing that off camera. So I've gone ahead to iron this thing, the wording. So if you're very busty, you can extend your wording to the side, leaving just the joining parts, okay? So I've ironed the wording and I've ironed the hairstay. You can see I've ironed the hairstay to both the front and back, and I've gone ahead to trim. You can see that I've also gone ahead to cut on the lining. So what I will do now, I'll be going to the sewing machine and I will join this parts together. So I'm going to join the fabric and the lining. I'm going to join everything together, okay? So you can see that this part is pointing, so I have to blend it. So instead of following the curve exactly the way it is, you see this edge that is pointing, I'm just going to make it a little bit inside and not make it too curvy. Okay, so I'm just going to come in a little bit. Let me sew it and I'll show us. So you can see that it's no more sharp. By the time I iron it now, it's come out well. Can you see? It's no more pointing. Can you see it? So the extra thread I have now, I'm going to cut them away. I'm going to lose it. I will lose this part. I will lose this first and second line so that it will have only this line. By the time we notch it and iron it, it will spread very well. So I'm going to join this part also. Can you see? So I'll go ahead now. I'll go off camera and lose this point. I'll lose this point and notch it. I'm going to notch it. I'll notch it all through. So I'm gonna head to iron it. You can see how beautiful it is, right? So the trick about this thing is the tightening on the upper part. Once you did not get the tightening on the upper part correctly to get it curved this way, it's not going to come out well. Do you understand? You see the underbust tightening and the one we did on the neckline, right? The tightening at this point, they are very important in your bustier. Once you didn't get it right, it's not going to come out nice. Can you see? You can see how neatly done it is. You can see how curvy it is, right? So the next thing I will do now, this is it on the inside, okay? So I've gone ahead to notch and I spread it open to iron it, okay? I use my tailor's arm to do that. I didn't show us to save time. So the next thing I'll be doing now, I'm gonna head to join the lining also, okay? So I'm just going to turn with the lining, right side facing right side. So on the back pattern also, I will do the same thing for both sides of the back. I will turn with the lining so that we can go ahead and cut the sleeve together, okay? So I've gone ahead to turn. You can see I've turned it and I've ironed it. You can see how neatly done it is, right? So the next thing we'll be doing, I've done the same thing for the front. And this is what it looks like on the inside. Can you see? You can see how nice it is on the inside. And it's still standing on the outside even after ironing it. Can you see it? You can see it, right? So the next thing we'll be doing now is to draft the sleeve. Now it's going to be a very short sleeve. I'm no longer doing a longer sleeve. So the sleeve is going to be very short. So what I will do now is the full length of the sleeve is going to be, let's say, about 6 inches. So let me mark it this way. I will have to rule a straight line. So if you want to do a freehand off-shoulder sleeve without much calculation, here now, mark 4 or 4.5. Depend on how big the arm of the person you are working with is. So at this point, the 4.5 I used for this point was way too small. I extended it to about 6 inches at the end of the day because I cut another sleeve because this one became too small. So please take notes. Then on the lower part, my full sleeve my circumference on where the sleeve will end is about 12. Okay, it's about 13 inches. So I'll just mark 7 approximately. So from this part now, I'm going to use this armhole curve to get it. So I'll place the armhole curve like this. So you know we have our 1.5 seam allowance here also. So if I place it, can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to place this one to get the curve, because that's where the sleeve will be fitting in. It's very simple. It's just for you to get the right curve. So it will end here like this. Can you see? So this is the main point. Here is where you will use to join it. So I can now decide to extend it to this point also, so the extra allowance. Okay, so you extend it like this. This is what we have. You can see what we have, right? So I want to add extra 2 inches because I'm going to fold the hem of the sleeve. Or let me add 1 inch. 2 inches is too much, so I'm adding extra 1 inch that I will use to fold the hem of the sleeve. So this is my main arm circumference. Okay, so when I extend it, the 1.5, I'm going to add it. So what I'll do, I'm just going to connect it like so. You know, from here to here is the 1.5. So if I'm connecting it to the main sleeve part, it's going to be this way. So from here to here is the 1.5 for the extra seam allowance. So I'm just going to cut it. So I'll be cutting 2 of it. So I'll be cutting 4 in total because I'll be using the fabric to turn. Okay, I'll be using the fabric to turn it. So right side facing right side, I'm just going to run it all through. Then I'll leave an opening that I will use to turn it to the wrong side. I'll do the same thing to this one, then I'll come back. So I've gone ahead to turn the sleeve, okay, and I've ironed it. You can see how neatly done it is. So the next thing, we're going to join the front and back together. Okay, so I'm going to join the both sides, leaving the center back. Okay, so I'll go to the machine, run it so that we'll fit the sleeve together. So I've gone ahead to join the front and back together, and this is what we have. Can you see? So we're going to be working on the sleeve. So these are the sleeve I have with me. So for this one, first of all, you are bringing it this way. Bring it this way, starting from the edge. So you make sure they are equal to give you a neat work. Okay, then you sew it straight to this point. Okay, so let's do that together. Now you should take note that you are not sewing on this joining. I pushed it outside before pressing it here, so you can see that it's not sewing on it. So after sewing that side, now you bring this side like this. Okay, then you place it this way. Can you see it? Can you see what we have? So let me flip it to the wrong side. This is it, right? So it's coming this way. Press it this way. Then you push this joining to this side also, so that you don't sew on it. Can you see? Can you see what we have? So what we'll do now, this part, we're going to join it together. Okay, so you can go ahead and cut out the excesses when you're done from this part, so that it will not be showing. But I'm just going to run a straight stitch from the edge to this part. Can you see? So you can see that our sleeve is done. Can you see? I'll go ahead and repeat the same thing for the other side. So I went ahead to add the second slip to the other part of this dress and added the skirt part, then the zipper to the back, and we are done with the bustier. You can see how fitted it is, right? If you want to see how I made the 3-step skirt part, it is going to be the next video I will be uploading on the channel. Thank you for watching.